Hello there, my name is Owen Bastable. I'm a trainer with Project React. Today I'm going to be going over a strategy called WISE feedback, also known as OWL. So we know educators use constructive feedback almost every day to help improve what students are doing in classrooms and schools. What's not as clear is how to deliver effective feedback to students. So I wanted to start with an example by a researcher named David Yeager, who identified this idea of a cycle of mistrust. When a student produces poor quality work, teacher will provide critical feedback. In some cases, this feedback may be received as a personal attack or slight on a student, which may lead the student to respond in a way that's unwanted or even withdraw from that teacher. And this can lead to over time to a teacher lowering standards or withholding critical feedback from a student. So what this looks like can be the beginning of an achievement gap, which can widen the discipline gap that we're trying to address in our schools. So David Yeager identified 3 parts to WISE feedback, and they are here. So critical feedback, communicating high standards, not just telling students to do better, and providing them with resources to do better work. And his team evaluated WISE feedback in a 7th grade class and conducted a study where he had 7th graders complete an essay on either heroine or hero that they liked. And half of the essays were given standard feedback and half of them were given WISE feedback. So here's an example of standard feedback. And then here's an example of WISE feedback that includes some additional language around expectations and knowing the teacher expressing the desire that the student can do this work. So we wondered, did this make a difference? And it turns out that it made a very big difference for both groups of students in the slide, white and African American students, related to their desire to revise the essay. But it made especially a big difference for African American students. As you can see on the right-hand side of the slide here, those students that received WISE feedback were much more likely to revise their essay. There were also positive effects on grades and level of trust from students to teachers. So good OWL, it's a good way to remember this, OWL, offer critical feedback with high expectations and use a ladder statement. Bad OWL, which is something we want to try to move away from, overpraising mediocre work, withdrawing constructive feedback, and conveying low expectations is not as helpful for students. Here's an example of what WISE feedback looks like. I know it can be frustrating to lose control like that. It's offering the feedback. With high expectations, it's hard to be responsible for your choices, but I know you want to, and I know you can, and then finishing with a ladder statement. Now, importantly, you don't need to include all 3 aspects of WISE feedback for WISE feedback to work. You may choose 1 or 2 of these. So now it's your turn. So with a partner, if you can develop 2 critical feedbacks or WISE feedback statements using OWL. You can pause here and then share it with a colleague, or maybe write them down, practice them. You can also do this using a integration planning form that is here and linked at the bottom of the slide that can walk you through in more detail how to develop WISE feedback using OWL. And again, you could share this out. So I wanted to finish with some key points about WISE feedback. As I said, teachers may be reluctant at times to provide critical feedback to their students, and this has been shown especially true for students of color. WISE feedback can help us deliver critical feedback in a way that supports student growth and can generate feedback that's more effective, genuine, and specific to students' needs. So here is finally one resource with all of the information I've shared. It includes the integration sheet and a description of WISE feedback. It also includes a fidelity checklist, so you can go over in more detail this strategy to see if you are doing it as it was designed. And that is all linked at the bottom of the slide. Thank you so much for checking out WISE feedback, and I hope that this strategy works well for you in your class or school.